So good morning, everybody. It's pretty kind that you're all coming to watch my talk. First of all, something completely different. Has anybody of you been on my talk about fonts and encodings yesterday? Okay, so I have something pretty amazing. We're here at Adobe. You know, those guys that I think they had something to do with PDF. And today, I saw my badge. It was quite surprising. I have been renamed by Adobe. Now my name is something like Fran question mark Ois. And my last name has also some question marks in it. So I pretty much think that this is a good sign to start with. But we're not going to talk about any kind of encoding today. But anyway, I've been laughing a lot after crying. Okay, so I introduced what I'm going to do today, yesterday on the 5-minute slot. As I said, I don't have that many slides. I want to show you what we have to present documents in HTML5 websites. And I try to not to make a sales pitch, because if I do, I will be punished. If you have if you think that it is going to be a sales pitch, come ahead and beat me, so I get normal back again. But I would like to do a little introduction anyway. So, what is all this going to be about? We're specifically talking about the Janus Web Toolkit, which is a product to do HTML5 representations of PDF documents. And how that's going to be looking like, we'll see in a second. My name is François Fernandes. Well, at least on my slides, not according to my badge. And I've been working for Levigo, I think, about 11 years now. I've started pretty much with PDF as my first task. And I'm pretty delighted, but I have been involved pretty much a long time in the development of a Janus Web Toolkit. So what is this all about? It is all about having devices which are not simple computers on your desks anymore. It is about having multiple OSs, even in companies. And this is something quite challenging, because we have many customers which have users that require a lot of education to get used to the software they are going to use. And educating someone when you don't know which device that person is going to be using is quite challenging sometimes. So this is where a lot of people tended to start with something like HTML5 and CSS3 portals for the rescue. Not in every case, but it could help to solve exactly that multi-device problem, which many people are actually facing right now. And this is what we have. We have a Janus Web Toolkit, a integrated solution into any kind of HTML5 portal. And this is something completely different to typical viewing applications, because you're in full control of how documents are going to be presented to your users. I just wanted to give you a quick demonstration of what is actually possible. And after that, I promise we will be doing a lot of coding. So, just have to, oh well, that's pretty awesome. My Mac doesn't want to talk with me. And that's even nicer. Okay. I love that. So, anyway, the application is running. So this is, no, come away. Okay, I guess I'll close a lot of tabs. Oh no, I don't want. Okay, again, I love it when demos go straight off like this. Okay, finally arrived. So this is our standard demo application that you're receiving if you're asking for a demo at us. And just to have a quick look, and this is all pure HTML5 and CSS3, and it's looking pretty ugly on that screen. Oh well, too bad. I hate projectors. Anyway, it is basically, as you would be expecting, any kind of document viewing application. So let's have a quick look into something. For example, an electronic invoice. You don't have to read the contents of the invoice. Actually, it's German. It's simply a example document. So what we have here is the typical interaction that you are going to have with any kind of document viewing, but it will be on any device, any browser, always the same. So if I go ahead and use that link and jump ahead to, I think I have Firefox on my Mac. Good. It will be looking totally the same, and you're in full control over the look and feel and the behavior of the application. And this is something pretty different to what users are facing right now. For example, Chrome and Firefox do not share the same PDF document viewer. Firefox is using PDF.js, and Chrome is using, I think it is a version of Foxit if I'm not completely wrong. So they all have different controls, and this is we've changed this a little bit. We have all kinds of possibilities to interact with that document, like looking through a lens, which is pretty helpful if you're looking at full-size pages, even searching for text fragments, like, well, if I'm typing correctly, yep, I'm finding something right away, and selecting and even using that selection to copy it to the clipboard or interacting with the document in any kind of a way. So that's it for this part at the moment. One thing important for me, yep.
Just to clarify, this is pure HTML5.
Yeah.
This isn't a plugin or extension or anything like that.
Okay. I was hoping someone is going to ask me that because I love opening the development tools. So actually, you see that the page is painted on a canvas object. So we do not have any kind of plugin on the client side. Nothing. It is, and we will see that in a second, somehow supported by the server. But on the client side, no plugin in use at all. This is especially beautiful because Firefox has, Chrome has been dropped the NS API, the old Netscape API, which a lot of plugins are being built upon. For example, Java applets are big fun to do, especially right now, because they're running nowhere anymore. So no plugins needed at all. Okay, so I will leave that let that wait for the moment. Okay, so the architecture of this tool is a bit different of most other tools which do similar jobs. We always wanted that the document remains on the server under full control of the owner of the document, but it will never leave as a complete part the system. So this is actually what we're going for, what we're doing. We have that kind of loading process. It seems kind of complicated at the moment, but I just wanted to demonstrate on how the logic is actually separated, and we need that knowledge a little bit to have a look in our demo application later on. We always have something to identify a document on the client side. In most cases, it will be some kind of ID. And the actual document loading and even most of the document processing will be done on the server side and be kept safe on that system of the owner of the document. And once all that processing is done, the client side gets notified, well, a document is ready for you, go ahead and pick it up. This causes some additional things. You might have a lot of server-side load, that's sure, but it is possible to do, or I hope it's readable in any way, load balancing right in front of the web application, because anything is pretty much stateless. And the nice thing about that design is once a server crashes or becomes overloaded or becomes unavailable to any kind of other reason, that's the word I've been searching for, it is possible to just do a failover. And the client will not even be able to notice it. Because any document has information associated with it, so that in case of an emergency, really, another server can go ahead and do a kind of recovery of the original document that the person has been working on. There might be a slight delay in the interaction of it with a document, but beside of that delay, anything will run immediately. So this is the architecture and the base knowledge that I wanted to show you. And now I would like to go ahead and show you a little demonstration application. As I said, I don't have that many slides, and I hate slides, to be honest. So we will jump right in. So go away. Yeah, I have not that much space on my disk. I know. Go away. Okay. No. Our application. Well, let's quickly get out of here for a moment, just to start that application off. I've prepared something with a little code base. So, as you can see here, we have a lot of styling. Yeah. Some people love CSS, some people don't. I tend to not like styling that much, but at least it is possible to do styling. So it is possible to adapt the styling to your specific needs, to your corporate identity. And beside of that, we have some classes to get that whole thing working. And one thing that I haven't mentioned right now, there's a lot of Java code involved actually here. Switching quickly back. We're using a technology called a GWT, or GWT it is pronounced. Is anyone aware of what GWT is? Ever heard? 2, 3? Okay. It's a pretty interesting technology. It's originating from Google. Now it's somehow a independent consortium taking care of that. You can actually write your complete client application in Java, and it will be compiled to JavaScript. This is something pretty beautiful, because I personally think JavaScript is, to get it right, it's a nice language, but to get it right, you have to do a lot of things, and to know a lot of things. So this is where the GWT toolkit actually jumps in and will ensure that you have a good foundation to build upon. Write your code in Java, which there's a lot of people out there being capable of writing good and clean Java code, and it will be compiled into good and clean. No, well, clean it is not because it's obfuscated, but in good JavaScript code. So this makes maintenance of such applications easier. And this will be the reason why I'm showing you somehow a lot of Java code. And our current result will be something like this. It's not too spectacular at the moment. We'll extend that a little bit. At the moment, or the basic idea is that I can type in here a document ID. For example, I know that there is a ticket. And like to open it. Oh well, actually there's no opening logic integrated at the moment. We're going to be doing that in a second. So, how does that look like? Now we jump into. We have our entry point for our application. So now get back to presentation mode. It should be pretty readable. Okay. So we basically have a layout of two components. We have on the left side a control panel where we type in our document ID, and on the right side there's the actual viewer widget. So I've just separated it here. And we're going to have a look at the document control panel, which is the panel including the text field and the button. Let's have a look. We see we have a button with an open document and the text box, which will receive our document ID. So now we will go ahead and load a document. And it's pretty easy to do so. We have something called a reader. It requires a definition of how the client side is communicating with the server. This is something that is abstracted away. And we have, with this connection type being used at the moment, it is possible to even leverage things like WebSocket connections, as long as the browser and the server is capable of doing so. So we take our reader, and we tell him we want to append a description, a way to tell the application on how to load our document. We have a so-called PDF TC source. This is something that I have been implementing for today. Document ID, and that's it. After that, we tell the application, okay, go ahead, please, catch me the document. And once it's done, please get back to me. And we have a callback here, open document callback, which will be talking to our viewer instance, telling the viewer, go ahead, please, and open that document for me. The document callback is pretty simple. It's only about if a failure happens, please show an alert message. If it is successfully loaded or has been successfully loaded, tell the viewer to show that document. This is our document model. So let's have a look on how this is, what it is looking like. So run debug, and we'll debug this one. Okay. Now this is a nice thing too. I've changed the client code now, and it is possible to do on-the-fly recompilation. So I'll tell the application, please go ahead and recompile it to me for me, and the complete client side will be updated. So we won't be seeing much at the moment. We will be, if I decide ticket, open document. There's nothing really happening at the moment because we're not actually loading a document on the server side. So this is one part. Let's go ahead, wait, okay. This is one part of what we've got to do. The next thing, and I will quickly jump back to the keynote presentation, is to handle the server side. We've had a custom source, the PDFTC source, identifying in some way our object, our document we would like to show. What we now have is, or have to do, is to implement a so-called document data provider. That means this is the logic that is actually in charge of accessing the document data. So let's get back here, and I have a PDFTC document data provider. So to make things easy, I'm simulating some kind of repository here. My repository is just a bunch of code with having 3 documents, ticket, program, and all. And those documents are just included in the application. But here you can use any kind of source that you're willing to. And now comes the fun part. We're being asked to read the actual document based on the source that we have received. This is the PDFTC source right here. So we try to find a descriptor based on the document ID. The document ID is nothing else than the string that we've typed in on the client side. And it will iterate all documents and check if that document ID is actually matching. If so, use the descriptor. Now, I will go ahead and say, okay, reader, I have again a reader on the server side, read, please. And this is the way to load resources in Java. Get parts. Why we have get parts here, I'll be telling you in a second. That's all. I've told it where to find the resource that the client has requested. I'll just quickly go ahead and compile. Okay, perfect. Now do it again. And we have actually my ticket reservation, or my ticket that I've been received to attend the PDF technical conference. I have another document, which is the program. Let's have a look at the program. There it is. I have the program right in front of me. And here the hover lines might come in pretty handy. What I can do, hover, over, oh well, that's over specific parts of the document without zooming in into the document completely. And furthermore, we can rotate pages completely throughout the document, or pages on their own without influencing any kind of any other pages. Everything that I'm showing here is not going to do any kind of modification to the actual document itself. This is only something that is reflected in the user interface in our metadata model. If you want to persist it, it is possible, but it's not happening. It's not going to be a permanent modification out of the box. So when we're talking about documents, we're talking about something, a virtual definition of a document. It doesn't have to be one specific file. We can handle multiple files and load them into one document instance, and the user will not be aware whether or not that document is being composed from multiple sources, or it is composed using only one single source. And I'd like to show you exactly that. This is an example where I have 3 so-called segments, which are different sources, which are different documents being attached to one another. And I have a virtual source in that document, or in my small repository. It is called the all. And as you can see here, I just lay it out a little bit different. We are able, or we have specified 2 different sources, which are basically my ticket and the track info sheet or program, to be associated with one another and having that in one big document. The only thing that I have to do here, and this is plain Java code, to be honest, I get into my descriptor, get to my parts, iterate over all of them. Now I have to tell where I want those documents to be added, at which position inside the document. So I can say reader set target index, and the reader has already a document, a virtual document at hand, and I'm just saying the target index is the page count, so I will be appending every page or every document after the other. And finally, I'll just say reader read, and as a resource will be my part. So that's it. Let's quickly head back. This time, it should still be working. We have program, we have ticket, and we have all. Open document. And this is actually now we're presenting the user 2 documents at a time without the user even noticing it, because it is behaving like it would be a complete document without any additional things to see. Even allowing things like doing reordering of those pages. If I pretty much think that this page should be at the back, reordering, no problem. Again, without any kind of physical modification of that file, it is purely virtual, and it's possible to store that information beside the document, especially in large archives. This is a common way to solve that without touching the original document data at all. Okay. I've told a little bit about being able to append different elements into the document. We can even further stack those things up. That means you can have documents above the others. This is in particular useful for things like, for example, annotations. Annotations are, for us, are not considered part of the actual document. Yes, I know PDF is totally capable of doing annotations and the actual document data in one file. But if you're in an archiving situation, for example, or you have annotations for different annotations for different users on the same document, which can be the case in sometimes, it's much easier to separate annotations and document data. I don't know if you knew that even Adobe Reader is able to do annotations beside the original document with so-called FDF format. It is some kind of PDF variation only containing the annotation data for a specific document. And so, who has been aware of that feature of Reader? This is what I've been expecting. Almost no one knows that this is existing. And it's pretty hard to use the UI to get that working, in my personal opinion. So we're pretty much doing the same thing. We're always separating everything. And to show you a little bit of what our annotations are going to be like, I will leave that little demo application as it is at the moment, and jump back to our demonstration application. And I think first one here is the one. As most applications do, we have the ability to edit those annotations right online. And again, there's no plugin involved. This is 100% happening on the client with JavaScript and HTML. You can prove that again. You will most probably see nothing, because again, it's all, oh, come on, please. Hard time clicking. Okay. Again, it is just the canvas element. No plugins, nothing. Anything happening directly on the client, and as such, it is working on any mobile device with any kind of mobile browser on it. Good. So this was quite fast-paced. I hope that you at least have some questions, and I'm pretty happy to answer any questions that you have. And if you would like to see me doing additional things with a little demonstration application, I would be happy to do so. So I'll open it to you. Do you have any questions at the moment? Yeah.
When you view the document in your viewer, the danger of the document being modified, changed, potentially for some fraudulent purposes or whatever as an HTML.
I'm sorry, I have hard time to understand.
Do I need to speak up?
Yeah, please.
That's extremely rare for me. When you're viewing the document in HTML,
Yeah.
in your viewer, what are the possibilities or dangers of people making changes to the document fraudulently, like a PDF-A, for instance?
Well, this is what I've been speaking about at the beginning. The document itself will never be on the client. You always have just a representation of the current viewing state on the client. It is basically a screenshot. So if people would be able, and this is basically, you always have that possibility. You can take a screenshot of any kind of viewing application, go ahead and modify it in any way, but storing it back is not possible, except if you're allowing it to. So there's no way for people to modify the document and get it back into your archive or any location where you're going to store that document, except if you're explicitly allowing a way that this is going to be happening. Does that answer your question?
Well, it helps. I guess the depth of it would be that oftentimes, and by the way, I'm probably one of the least technical people in here. I'm on the business side of things, but
It's
I know that when we're on the browser, I look at HTML. If I accidentally click the wrong button, and for me, it's an accident. All of a sudden, I see all the source of the HTML, and I can save that off, and someone with more knowledge can actually make changes to it, and then I can convert that and actually generate a PDF. I can take that and make it a printable document. So now I potentially could modify the document, and that's, I guess, where I'm trying to get to. Is that feasible with the way that you've got this architected, or is that locked out?
It can never be completely locked out in any kind of way, because the way how you describe what could be happening, if you're looking at the source, as I have been doing during that presentation, you're seeing actually that there are image tags and canvas elements, HTML elements on this in the DOM tree, and you can always make screenshots from those things or extract them and store them anyway. But you're losing a lot of information. You don't have any kind of metadata. You only have one resolution of a document. You have a resolution at which it was be rendered in the current zoom level. So if I'm going back to the application, at the moment I just have the rendering or the images for a zoom of 59%. Of course I can go ahead and zoom in, but it is not being what it has been originally. Especially that document is 100% vector. So I can zoom in to any degree. It's going to be updating. Yeah, there it is. Now I have some tiles, some fragments of a document, and not even all. I just have some fragments, the fragments that are visible on screen in that resolution. So you will have a pretty hard time in capturing all of that. So there's always the possibility to do screenshotting. Like in every reviewer, there's no difference in that, but the raw document data is never ever going to the client. And this is a big difference.
Okay, that helps me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So what exactly does go to the client?
To the client. In most cases, there are pre-rendered results because we tried to do active rendering on the client in most of the cases, but especially in PDF and transparency, it's getting complicated at some points, and we have to support the famous Internet Explorer in even modern versions. So we decided to stick for a while with pure images. So you have the images on the client, pre-rendered results. In addition to do things like doing text selection, we have metrics about the selected area on the client, telling us what letter is going to be selected, and at least the rough outline of the letter, so that we can render the selection itself. And that's it from the document point of view itself. We have a different story with annotations. Annotations are objects which live in the client as long as these are meant to be there, and on storage, a snapshot of them will be sent to the server, and it's up to you to decide what you're going to do with the annotations. So this is everything that's going to be on the client.
So we did a text search right now. Does
Yep.
it get the server?
Yep.
And are you storing any stuff, any information in the database on the server? Is that
Not out of the box. But we have been doing integrations, and this is one big thing. We have to support documents with 2 million pages. This is our current limit at the moment. Especially if you're looking at the SAP systems, they have the so-called ALF lists, and they tend to be pretty big. And in such cases, most people would like to have a an optimized index on the server. And this is actually what we can integrate. So we put an additional index. It will search quite fast, but there will always be a round trip, because having 2 million pages in your browser is not going to be fun at all. Yes.
2 questions. If I did a copy right now, would that get the text? And also, I noticed you didn't demo any forms. Do you also support forms?
Now we have, at the moment, no forms.
Okay.
This is pretty easy. We have, because we're focusing on PDF-A, to be honest.
Oh.
So if you have pre-filled forms, the contents will be visible.
Right.
That's not a problem. If I'm clicking here on that button at the moment, it's not the most beautiful solution. You got to copy it explicitly. I can copy it using the shortcut, but beside the shortcut, driving a button. At the moment, there's only one single possibility to get contents to the clipboard, and this is to use a beautiful Flash movie hidden away, which honestly is the only possibility for an HTML and JavaScript page to access the clipboard of the user. So again, if I'm doing that selection and using my shortcut, it will be copied into the clipboard, but it's not possible to handle a click and performing the copy.
So you're not just sending text metrics, you're actually sending the text as well.
We're sending text, exactly. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Can you open more than one PDF document at a time?
Basically, we can open as many as you want. The thing is, our software, I'll just quickly go back here.
But each one is in a separate tab?
It's up to you. That's actually what the Janus Web Toolkit is. And my demo is spectacularly failing at the moment. What the Janus Web Toolkit in fact is only the rendered area. not the toolbars. It is not anything beside. It is just that widget to show documents. And you can have any number of widgets open that you like. I think I have a screenshot in my presentation, which does exactly that. Give me a second. Yeah. Well, at the moment there's only one single tab open, but basically this demonstration application has additional tabs, and every document that you're going to open will be in a separate tab. It can be in separate browser tabs, or any kind of other representation or visualization that you're going to want. You can open even 20 documents without the user even noticing it, but there are 20 documents open, but allowing quick switching between documents. You're totally free to decide on how that is going to be working. Any questions remaining? Everyone's looking tired. I'm sorry for that. But if you don't have any questions, I'll be around here today, so please go ahead and talk to me. Besides that,
one last question. I know this product is a server product, but can I use it on my client side? Can I use it on my Windows desktop to integrate into my Windows application?
basically, it is possible. You always have to have it in an embedded web server. That's one possibility. The other way is, this is the new product line that we've been working on. We have the Jadice Viewer, which is a pure Java desktop application with the same API. And it can be integrated in even more extensive ways as the Janus Web Toolkit at the moment, because the Java API is way more powerful due to the fact that we're not limited to browsers. So this is one way to go, or you have two ways to go. Either you choose the embedded server, or go ahead with the Janus Viewer itself.
Sure. The rendering engine itself is Java-based, and API is Java-based.
Yeah, it is completely Java-based, and it doesn't only render PDF. We're able to do PDF, AFP, Modca, TIFF, JPEG, and any kind of raster format. And every rendering engine, or part of the rendering engine, is written by our company. So we have all that knowledge on site, and this is actually our headquarters. So that knowledge is always accessible. And due to this, we're able to react in a relatively fast manner if there's something going on.
So that engine is similar to iText, but it's a different product.
It is different to iText in the sense that we're focusing on having the ability to read multiple formats into a normalized document model. iText is mostly focusing on PDF. I know we're doing other stuff, but we have a neutral document format in memory, so that we can handle AFP, PDF, and any kind of other format uniformly throughout the viewer. So it's even possible, what I've been showing before, that I've been mixing multiple PDF documents. I can mix PDF with TIFF, and AFP Modca, and ALF print lists, etc., without the user even noticing it. Okay? So then, thank you very much for your attention, and I hope we will have a good lunch today.